Hola, hoy vamos a escribir apuntes o tomar apuntes sobre los mandatos formales y plurales. So formal and plural commands. In other words, commands in which we are telling someone who is supposedly an authority figure or older than us, depending on the situation, someone to whom we're supposed to show respect. So usted commands, and plural commands, ustedes commands. So telling a group of people what to do. You hear me actually use plural commands with you all the time. Saquen la tarea, levántense, vengan a la pizarra. Those are all actually plural commands. So before we get started, necesitamos saber qué son los mandatos. What are commands? Los usamos para dar órdenes a otra persona o a otras personas. In a way, what we're doing really is we are telling someone else or other people what to do, or in some cases, what not to do. Un mandato afirmativo, or an affirmative command, is used to tell someone to do something. Now, you need to keep in mind we're not necessarily telling someone to do something positive, but an affirmative command means that you are telling someone to do something. Un mandato negativo, or a negative command, is used to tell someone not to do something. Okay? However, un mandato negativo, the fact that it's a negative command does not mean that what you're being told is necessarily a bad thing. For example, if you've had a really rough time with the homework as a class and you all come in and say, Señora, we just didn't get it, and I say, no se preocupen, don't worry, vamos a repasarla, don't worry, we're going to review it. Okay? No se preocupen, telling you not to worry, hopefully something that, relieves you as a class a little bit, but it's still technically a negative command because you're being told not to worry. The first thing we need to know is how to form them, como los formamos, okay? So para formarlos, para un verbo AR, usamos la forma yo del verbo en el presente, okay? So we need to start off with the yo form of the verb in the present. And this becomes very, very important, especially as we deal with verbs that have stem changers or are irregular in the present tense, in the yo form especially, because when we use commands, we keep these stem changes and we keep these irregular yo forms. We start off with the yo form, so we have examinar, which is a regular AR verb. We start with examinó. Recomendar, which is a stem change from that second E to an IE, recomiendo. The second thing we do, quita la O, get rid of the O, and we are left with examine and recomiende. Finally, we add these endings. Para un mandato formal, or an usted command, vas a añadir la letra E. Para un mandato plural, en ustedes command, vas a añadir las letras E, N, or N. You'll often hear me say when we discuss commands, flip the endings. And the reason why I say that is because technically, to put it in very simple terms, for the most part, we're flipping AR endings with ER endings. Like I said, for the most part, okay? So you'll often hear me say flip or flip the endings as we're going over this if you get things backwards at times. So for example, you want to make sure you get these down. You have examine al paciente, examine the patient. Recomiende la medicina apropiada, recommend the appropriate medicine. Examinen a las pacientes que están esperando, so examine the patients that are waiting, all of you, okay, so that's a plural command. And another plural command, recomienden antibióticos cuando sea necesario, recommend antibiotics when it's necessary. So you'll notice these do have those flipped endings. You have those ER endings for verbs that would normally be AR. And also recomendar keeps that stem change. Oops. Para los verbos ER, EIR. Once again, you're going to start off with la forma yo del verbo en el presente. And you'll note that for an ER verb here, I started off with a yogo verb, as you've heard them called. Pongo, to put. So poner, yo pongo, and escribir, we start off with escribo. You get rid of the O, which means that for poner, you have pong, and for escribir, you have escrib. Y necesitas añadir estas terminaciones, ¿ok? Para un mandato formal en usted command, vas a añadir a. Y para un mandato plural en ustedes command, vas a añadir an. So once again, you see kind of those flipped endings, the ER and IR verbs, in order to form formal and plural commands, take what would normally be AR endings. So, por ejemplo, tenemos ponga las muletas debajo de los hombros. Put the crutches under your shoulders, see? Escriba una receta para la penicilina. Write a prescription for penicillin. So those are both usted commands, so formal commands. And then for a couple of examples of mandatos plurales, plural commands, pongan las pastillas en la botella, put the pills in the bottle. And escriban instrucciones para el uso de la medicina. Sorry about that there. I had to click again for that to come up. For some reason, that was kind of silly. Okay, so write instructions for the use of medication. Para seguir. Es más o menos simple formar mandatos negativos porque simplemente vas a poner la palabra no antes del antibiótico, y es importante que escribas estos ejemplos. No recete un antibiótico si no es necesario. Don't prescribe an antibiotic if it's not necessary. No diga mentiras al médico. Don't tell lies to the doctor. So you've got two examples of formal commands there, and I'm going to apologize now if you can hear my dog growling in the background. He probably wants to play with the very, very old cat who wants to have nothing to do with him, so he's just being his little ridiculous self. A couple of plural commands here. No salgan de la clase sin hablar con la profesora, so don't leave from the class without speaking with the teacher. Y no hagan operaciones innecesarias. Don't do unnecessary operations. Unas reglas más, ¿ok? Verbos que terminan con cargarizar tienen terminaciones un poco diferentes. And you'll note that these look an awful lot like the endings that you see in the preterite for the yo form, especially that garde-gay, carde-que, and zar-de-se, okay? So for verbos que terminan con las letras C-A-R, car, you have que and ken, for que for usted and ken for ustedes. No hay acento. For gar, you have ge and gen. Once again, no hay acento. And then for zar, you have se and sen. And once again, no hay acento. Okay? And there are a few examples on the next slide you want to make sure that you write down. Diagnostique la enfermedad, diagnose the illness. So that's an usted command. And diagnostiquen a los pacientes que acaban de llegar. Diagnose ustedes, all of you, the patients who have just arrived. No llegue tarde para la consulta. Don't arrive late for the appointment. No lleguen tarde para el trabajo. Don't arrive late for work. And so you have usted and ustedes again. And then for these verbs, we have no empiece el examen sin mirar la radiografía. That's an usted command. Don't begin the exam without looking at the x-ray. Y empiecen a hablar con las enfermeras para decirles los síntomas. So begin, in other words, addressing a potentially group of parents, to speak with the nurses to tell them the symptoms. Once again, it's going to be important that you get these examples down to make sure that you have an accurate example of a completely conjugated command to look at. Finalmente, hay unos verbos que tienen una forma yo irregular en el presente. Okay, so these are new verbs to you that have an irregular yo form in the present. So, como otros verbos, vas a quitar la o para formar los mandatos. Poner you've already seen, and of course it shouldn't be completely new to you, but just to make sure you're aware that it is once again this unit. But torcer, tuerzo, is the yo form in the present. So hopefully you're not telling someone to twist something, but or fallecer, hopefully you're not using that one either as a command, but if it happened to come up somewhere, that's what you're working with for a starting point from a command. Y para terminar, yay! Verbos completamente irregulares para mandatos, okay? And keep an eye on these. They are actually going to be useful to you once we start working with the subjunctive in the next couple of weeks. So for dar, we have de con acento, because of course, as you know, de without an accent means of or from. Mandato plural is den. Para estar, tenemos este y estén. Para ir, vaya y vayan. Para saber, okay, remember saber means to know facts or information. Sepa or sepan. And para ser, tenemos sea y sean. Keep that in mind. You need to make sure that you have accurate information for yourself. Start working on some of the practice activities. And then you can certainly get started on the tarea to make sure that you're ready to move forward. Gracias.